Hello and welcome to my presentation today on urban environmental evolution. Today I am going to be discussing four major parts of this slideshow. First, by introducing what urban environmental evolution means, and then I'm going to discuss a study that was conducted, the results of that study, and possible solutions that we can find from that study. So we're going to dive right in with the introduction, discussing what urban environmental evolution means. So really we want to break this down into the three different words to try to figure out what that really means to us and what this presentation is going to be about. So first, we're going to talk about urban. So urban refers to any area that is very built up or developed by humans. Urban typically refers to a city-like setting that is densely populated and industrialized. So you can see from this picture, this is what you would think of when you hear built up or a city-like setting. There's skyscrapers, maybe some parks. You would think a lot of people live and possibly work there. And so that, if you can keep this picture in mind whenever I say urban, you will be on the right track for thinking urban. Okay, it means that kind of picture. So next we're going to talk about environmental. And this one basically just means any type of nature, meaning plants or animals, generally just living things. So you can see from the picture, there's humans, which are living things. So we are a part of nature, and also plants and soil and everything like that. And then evolution is the big one. So evolution is defined as the change in the characteristics of a species over several generations. So what does that mean for us non-science people out there? This means that over time, a long period of time, species of plants and animals can change some of their traits and become slightly different from what they were before. So, and a common example of this is human evolution. We came from, as you can see in the first picture, we started as apes, walking on all fours, and over long periods of time, we evolved into humans in the last one where we are standing up straight, we have bigger brains, traits like that had changed over a long period of time to make us something different from what we originally were. Plants do go through evolution as well, so not just animals. And this is what we're going to be discussing a lot in today's presentation. So when we put it all together, we have urban environmental evolution, which means cities, nature, and changes. So we can reword that to say changes cities have on nature. So that is going to be the purpose of today's presentation and the main focus of what we're going to be talking about. So changes cities have on nature. These changes are studied by ecologists, and ecologists study the relationship between organisms and environments. And today we are going to be looking at the study between organisms as in plants and an environment as in the urban city setting. So that is what we are going to be looking at today through our study. The study was conducted by Leah Johnson and Stephen Hindle, and they studied the effects of restoration treatments in urban park natural areas that had been invaded by woody non-native plants. So they wanted to see how restoration treatments were either helping or maybe not helping, had no effect on or positively affect areas within the city that had been invaded by woody non-native plants. So this study was published in 2016, but the data used was collected from 2009 to 2010. And this study was actually conducted in New York City. So they took samples from several different parks throughout the city. And why would they do this study? They did it to understand the effects of urban restoration treatments, which had been poorly documented, but could possibly provide many benefits to city societies. So they wanted to see if this restorative treatment had positive or negative effects within cities so that we might be able to take that and use that within our own personal cities to help the overall health of the earth. And how is going to be described through the method. So the method is how they collected data and how they were able to draw conclusions from that data. So they first started off by sampling vegetation from 30 sites from park forests that had received restoration treatments. Now, these restoration treatments were removing the woody invasive species. So 30 sites had been undergone the restoration treatments. And then they sampled 30 more sites from parks that were similarly invaded but had not undergone restoration treatments. These are referred to as unrestored. So they have 30 samples from restorative sites and they have 30 samples from unrestored sites. And they wanted to compare that data to find the results. So they were looking at two different areas to provide insights for. One, the effects of the restoration practice. Did it work? Did it not work? And the role of invasive species in restoration outcomes. Was this positive or negative? Did it help the park or did it inadvertently hurt the park? Were the native species able to reclaim or were they permanently damaged? These are the two areas that they looked at. And here are the results of the study. So it was discovered that the parks that had received restoration treatments had significantly less invasive species, a more complex forest structure, and more native recruitment than the sites that were unrestored. So this showed that the restoration had an effect on the composition and complexity of the structures of urban parks. And in fact, they had a positive effect, accomplishing their intended goal of declining invasive species and increasing native recruitment. So these restoration treatments had been found through this study to be effective and a possible solution. So when we talk about possible solutions, restoration treatments have been shown to have a positive impact on urban parks. And many places may turn towards restoration treatments for their urban forests for the many benefits that it can have. So some of these benefits include improving air quality within the city, improving stormwater infiltration, and more social and ecological benefits. It's better to remove invasive species that are not naturally there and have the natural species survive and thrive. So this restorative treatments, the study showed, could be used as a viable solution to some of the problems that are popping up in our urban environments. So the study shows that humans can affect their environments. And in this case, humans were actually helping the environment by removing the invasive species, which allowed the native species to grow and flourish like they were always intended to. Many times, though, it is humans that are harming the environment, especially within cities that are densely populated and urbanized, through things like pollution, overpopulation, and destruction of natural habitat. We all must understand that we are just one small part of a large ecosystem in our state, our country, our globe, and that our actions have consequences on the nature around us. So we as humans can choose to have positive effects or negative effects on the environment. Positive, we can help native species by removing invasive ones, or negative, we can do things like pollution and destroy natural habitats. It is up to us, it is in our hands. We have the power to make changes. Here are some of my references for this presentation. And I want to say thank you for listening. I hope you found it interesting and possibly informative for your studies. And I hope you have a great day.